Howdy, folks, and welcome to this week's episode of the Critical Podcast. Today, I'll be leading things around the horn. Yours truly, Mr. Joe Lever, General up and coming. And as per usual, we have your devoted general, Mr. Jimmy Good. Jimmy, how are you this evening?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It is National Joe Day after all, so it's nice to have you. Nice to be here, I should say, on your show. Thank you.
It being National Joe Day and all, I feel really on point. Really on point. That's why I want to lead us into this one, Jimmy.
Yeah. I like it. It's a different energy already.
Come on, I'm trying to hold my seriousness here. Anywho,
you're very serious.
This week's episode, Between Two Ferns, I sit with Jimmy Good. Anywho, I've been out for a week here, so we're getting back to it.
2 weeks, 3 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah, 3 weeks, yeah, because you were on a little trip ski.
I was on a trip ski. I'm surprised I made it back.
Yeah, good timing.
Yeah, I was very lucky. I was very lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, so in the news lately. I mean, are we going to lead right into this?
If you want to. It's your show.
Okay, well, let's address the elephant in the room, right? Everybody's sick of hearing about it. Everybody's talking about it because it's exciting. It's like the weather, only worse.
Yeah.
COVID-19, right? Jimmy timed your trip perfectly. Most people locked inside quarantine, which means everybody's listening to podcasts, especially critical reviews.
Yes, of course.
Everybody's playing video games. Everybody's watching movies. Everybody's watching TV shows. Everybody's streaming this and that. Everybody's listening to music. All the good stuff that we like to talk about on this very show.
Yeah.
So, how have things been with you in the midst of the chaos?
Things are good. It's like I was talking before we started the show here. It's a little bit hectic. There's obviously a bit of tension in the air, but I'm trying to keep high spirits, and I've just been trying to play a bunch of games. I've been streaming pretty much every day, which is kind of crazy to me. Because I didn't really, I don't think about it anymore. Because I was like, has it really been? I'm almost up to like 2 weeks of it in a row, which seems really insane. And just trying to play other games when I'm not streaming, like that are just kind of for me, or like watch like shows and movies and things like that, which we can get into. But yeah, how are things going over on your because we're kind of in the same area, we're just in 2 different states, the
Midwest. Yeah, Minnesota's always hugging Wisconsin. We're close enough.
For sure. Yeah
things have been good for me. What am I saying? Hold on, I'll get to how I've been, but first let's call out our sponsor. This episode brought to you by Ice Cold Crisp Canada Dry Ginger Ale.
Definitely not, and we are definitely not sponsored. I just had to say that because the Canada Dry people will come after us. I would love that. Dream. Yeah, that'd be great.
Anywho, I'm just saying I get back to drinking it regularly if I had a sponsorship.
Do you have Canada Dry in the house?
Not at the moment, believe it or not.
Okay, what are you drinking today? Because we were talking about it earlier, like.
Yeah, so, okay, the Critical Reviews podcast, man, we blur the lines, baby. We talk about a lot of things.
Blur them.
Movie theater snacks. We'll call this in the same vein.
Yeah.
Coke Zero, Orange Vanilla.
That's so crazy. It's so many things. There's so many layers.
Yeah, so there's always been like the Coke Lime, and I think they've had the Black Cherry Vanilla or the Cherry Vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
But, one day this piqued my interest, and every once in a while, you just kind of crave a Diet Coke. Maybe some people a regular Coke, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It caught my eye one day. I'm like, man, that is tasty.
Yeah.
It is good. And so, yeah, I enjoy one now and again. Don't drink a lot of soda, but here I be.
Is the vanilla the best part?
It's subtle. It's subtle. The orange and the vanilla, it does come through. It's there. It's bold, but not too overpowering. You still get the Coke,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's overall well-rounded and bold, but not too bold.
Gotcha.
If I was a wine taster, I would, maybe have a better description. But...
No, that's all you have to say. Trust me. I understand these things. You could say almost anything and you'd be good to go. You could just be like, yes, it has a really nice body to it. Just say that. Don't say full.
Clearly,
just say nice.
clearly,
A 2020
originates from somewhere
factory of some sort.
Central Western California, probably 2010,
Wait,
early 2011.
They've kept it that long in the steel barrels. Yes.
Yes, indubitably. I'm not going to spit that one in the canister or whatnot.
That's good. That's good.
You know, no one wastes a good. God dang it! What do they call it? A good. A
spittoon.
Okay, yeah, I'm not going to put it in the spittoon because I'm not one to waste a good.
A good year.
Oh, a good year. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
I guess
a vintage.
Vintage. Good. Yeah, it's a good vintage.
See what I see? I know things about stuff.
All right, let's bring the line back to center, huh? Back
this is exactly what I wanted the show to be. This is good.
Anyway, I mean, if you're into this, Coke, anywho, I mean, I do encourage try a good citrus vanilla flavor. It's decent. Yeah, things for me have been all right. You know, to be honest, pretty much business as usual, which kind of sucks, but kind of doesn't. You know, still getting the old paycheck and all.
Yeah.
But things are a little deserted, you know? You got to have like a fancy letter to travel now. Officer pulls you over. Sir, why are you on the road? I've been deemed essential by the U.S. government, sir. I'm on my way to work.
Have they gotten pulled over yet?
Apparently, that's just a thing. Like, you know,
I've heard that around here too. Yeah,
you're supposed to rigorously, like, you know, document and have legitimate reasons for going to work, and your company has to legitimately be one of the ones, deemed essential. So
sure.
But I've heard rumors that cops are basically not pulling anybody over or limiting their interactions with the public because of this. So yeah, I drove by a sheriff the other day on the highway on the way to work doing 80 accidentally. And I don't even think he looked at me.
We aren't endorsing speeding. However,
I'm not. I was getting on the highway off the on-ramp, and I was looking over at one of my job sites, believe it or not, which is in the neighborhood. And, you know, a little known to me, apparently my little work car's got some more ponies under that hood than I realized. So
there you go.
I did check my speed right away. I think he, okay, sir, I get it. You're late to work.
I thought you were saying that with your truck. I was like, you're hitting 80 in your truck on a freaking, like, an on-ramp? I was like, it's like, whoa. So
here's the deal with my truck. My truck is my work car, pretty low profile, you know, nobody takes notice, right? Mm-hmm. My truck, on the other hand, you know, I would have gone by him at 80. He would have taken one look and been like, that cocky son of a bitch, I'm going to pull him over.
Okay, that's not true. Yeah. If you would have gone by him at 80, his car would have flipped. Like, the wind that would have come off, he would have just
The truck's got a bit of a stance to it, you know.
It's got a stance.
Plus, you know, who knows? Maybe he would have been a rebellion sympathizer. He would have seen my Kylo Ren sticker on the back windshield, and he would have pulled me over immediately.
That would have been good. I want to get one of those Darth Vader ones that's kind of like, it looks like the kind of scary cartoon looking Vader. Have you seen that?
Yeah, that, or they have like the facial like pinstripe line cutout of his head that's very nicely done. I almost got that one, but then I was like, you know what? I'm kind of a Kylo Ren kind of a guy. I'm gonna do it. So I've got the little decal in the corner, and
sure.
Proudly supporting the Star Wars thing. Yes, it's been confirmed in previous podcasts, but Jimmy has officially converted me into a Star Wars fan.
Took forever.
I find myself in YouTube rabbit holes. I watch, interviews with the actors. I watch behind the scenes documentary type things. My YouTube feed is just smothered in Star Wars stuff. I mean, my work computer, the background is a freaking stormtrooper. I mean, it's nuts. So
yeah.
Good job, Jimmy.
But it's not the original Stormtrooper. I feel bad because, like, well, you're here anyway, so it's fine now. It's like you're a Star Wars fan. I wanted you to... You've seen them all now, so it's good. Like, you can make an informed decision upon that, but obviously, and I think I'd probably be the same way, too, if I got into something like this later. Like, these newer ones just look nicer. That doesn't necessarily mean they're better. Don't everybody come at me now. But I think that is a factor, because even when you watch those older ones, they're still, like... a little bit. It's even when like I'm watching older Simpsons episodes, I'm like, ugh. Like at first I'm like, this is kind of hard. Like I'm
A
like,
little jarring to a certain extent. I did like the prequel movies. I
yeah,
liked them
oh
quite a bit.
man,
I think they still stand up quite well. But yeah, I think what you said there. Yeah, I think it's appropriate to talk a little Star Wars here because we were kind of on that path for quite a while with a regimented movie review, watching the original trilogy and then the prequel
hmm
trilogy, if that's the right way to describe it.
yeah, no, that is.
Um, but yeah, I mean, since our trip to Disney, I mean, of course, I've caught up on everything that's Star Wars possible, except for like Clone Wars animated stuff and
Sure.
whatnot. So, um, but yeah, I think what you said there is very accurate in that these newer movies for somebody who was never in the Star Wars or hasn't really, I had never seen the full. I've seen bits and pieces of like Phantom Menace, I think, and maybe Revenge of the Sith, but that's about it. I've never seen a full movie all the way through. And having seen The Force Awakens and then going to Disney, coming back and seeing some of the other ones, it is a good stepping stone to really kind of hurdle you back into the earlier stuff and how
Sure.
did this come to be and how did all this make the transition and come full circle to this point. But there's something about, even if you're a huge fan of the old ones, the new ones from Abrams and Ryan
Johnson.
last name Johnson. So they're maybe the quality or what people. I think there was a lot more they maybe could have done with a lot of it, but for the most part, they're well done. But I think the aesthetic really hones in with people or speaks to people. There's an aesthetic there and a feeling and aura about these films that helps, stamp them in people's minds, I guess.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether they rank them to the top or in the middle somewhere, that sort of deal. So, yeah, I don't know. And if anything, you get all this new stuff coming out, it makes you want to go back and rewatch the old stuff, which it's good all around. But I guess quickly, if we wanted to touch on it, you and I actually went and saw the most recent one last month.
Oh yeah.
When we were in your neighborhood, we went and saw Rise of Skywalker.
Yes, that's true. We did.
And
I was wondering if we were going to do an episode on this.
Yeah, well, and maybe this isn't the dedicated one, but I feel like it's worth touching on quickly, catch up, so to speak.
It's your day, man.
And did I like it? Did I love it? I loved it.
Yeah.
Notice how that was kind of staccato? I wasn't like, I loved it.
So you more than liked it. Yeah.
I more than liked it. I also like how the movie title, it actually carries meaning, quite a bit of meaning, I think. If you think of Rise of Skywalker, it's for two of the main characters, Ben and Rey, right?
Yeah.
Or Kylo at one point, then Ben.
Yeah.
Right. Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it. Turn it off for the next 10, 15 seconds. Kylo kind of having a little bit of, I don't want to say change of heart, but kind of becoming reformed based off of others, generous actions and that sort of thing, and their want to save him and that sort of thing, and his father coming to him in a vision and all that and whatnot. All a profound moment, and him coming back to he's Ben again, right?
Yeah.
And the good within him kind of wins the war. So he kind of has this real bit of a redemption moment and everything, and interaction with Rey at the end. Great. Rise of Skywalker, right? Ben Solo coming back. He is a Skywalker after all. And then at the end, Rey, spoiler alert, turn it off for 5 seconds. Who hasn't seen it? Come on. Her basically owning the fact that she'd rather that she cherishes her time with Leia and Luke, etc., and wants to kind of, what's the word, carry on that legacy of Skywalker and being good, right? Kind of cool, kind of profound. Relates back to the title, and everybody's probably, what do they mean, Rise of Skywalker, right? You know, and kind of putting the puzzle piece together. But it's kind of like an artistic way of, yeah, Rise of Skywalker, and they'll go on, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool. Uh, all in all, could they have done more with these movies and made them, maybe, I don't know, you get to a point where you're overstuffed, but there could have been a little bit more. But at the end of the day, I think it's a well told story,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
Um, I look back on now, I look back and I think, man, the casting in these movies. I honestly think they did an exceptional job with the casting. I think I've talked about this. Did we cover Force Awakens yet, Jimmy?
We have not. No.
Okay, so we haven't gotten into the new generation stuff
No.
quite yet in our segments.
Yeah. That was actually
Yeah.
the first podcast I ever did. I did it with Leo. You can hear him. You can hear him clicking and playing a game in the background. You can hear him not paying attention. It's great.
For shame. Well, anyway, I won't get too deep into it because we're gonna have to come back to it and discuss each one at some point in the podcast. But yeah, overall, there's something about him that resonates with me. I have since I like Kylo Ren. I like the concept of him and everything. Not to mention the aesthetic. I mean, they really hit home the Darth Vader, who has since died. He was kind of that profound, iconic, ominous force.
Mm.
And they established that right off the first step with Force Awakens. Obviously, it gets deeper than that, and you start to see the conflict, and that maybe he's a little bit more torn and not as. I mean, he's still big bad, but I think he's more human to people because obviously he removes his helmet and stuff, and it's who it is underneath there, and,
Yeah.
and you understand him a little bit more humanity wise because of that. I feel like. But I think it was an interesting, step to kind of reinsert the character kind of in that same vein to the new generation, right?
Sure.
And I've since thought about who else could have been in that position or in that role, who would have been a good fit for that. And honestly, going back to, I think the cast was really well done here. I think Adam Driver was that guy. You take a glimpse at him, you look at him, and you're like, I mean, he's just an actor. How, why, whatever. He's an actor, right? But there's something so much more to that guy. He's very artistic, and he's kind of an all-in kind of a guy. The way he portrays that character, and just going back to interviews on how he got into that, and the first movie was a bit of a whirlwind for him, but then as he moved forward with the character, I mean, you really get a lot of great emotion out of him with the contention between himself and then the things he has to do, and portraying certain emotions that show through the obvious front emotions of him being Kylo, right?
Sure.
And yeah, that's all deep and whatnot. I won't go too far into the rabbit hole, but I really appreciate that. And as I've rewatched these movies and looked at YouTube stuff and interviews with him, you start to pick up on what he was doing, and it's cool. I really appreciate that, and I think he was such a perfect pick for that. But not to take away from any of the others, they were great too. But excuse me, that was a Coca-Cola burp. But
delicious.
Yeah, I just, the other thing about this, I always talk about one of my favorite Halloween time movies, Sleepy Hollow, with Johnny Depp. Sure, maybe not the greatest movie of all time, but I've always talked about the setting and the aura. They hit that thing on the head. Like, that was just beautiful. Frame it and put it in a picture, right? Or paint it. I feel like they do a really good job of doing that with this one too. the different planet locations, the city locations on planets, the star destroyers, the ships. Obviously they can do a lot more because of the technology at their fingertips, as opposed to the earlier ones where it was a little more difficult.
Sure.
Granted, the prequels did it justice, right? But
Kind of a lot of green screen.
Yeah. But I mean, think back to that first introduction to Kylo Ren as he walks off of his ship and they're about to interrogate the old guy.
Sure.
If you look back at that scene, it's really well done. What a good introduction to your villain, or your, I often look back to that, and you find it everywhere, and it's really good. And then things on fire, the kind of sparks and embers flying through the air as they zoom in and stuff. And
it's like similar to how they introduced Darth Vader. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
The exact same thing, pretty much. He's just cosplaying. He's just cosplaying as Vader. That's all I'm trying to say. No, I'm just kidding. Kylo, you're great. You're fine, Kylo. Use your force stop more frequently. That's a good move, and you should use it.
It is funny.
It's a good move.
There are qualms with these films, and we'll get to them when we get into the details on the discussions per movie down the line here. But like when he stops that saber bolt in the air,
yeah,
and
Poe. Yeah, Poe.
Yeah, right there. Like what a, like, holy shit, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I mean, all right. I mean, this is the new Darth Vader,
sure.
cosplayer, if you will. But he can walk the walk, apparently, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then later through the movies, I mean, you see him use the Force and stuff, and he's powerful, and you get it. But they never really show it off, do they?
Yeah, no, not really.
I feel like they could have done that character a little bit more justice in that realm. Certain interactions and instances, maybe have him tote that a little bit.
Sure.
Because I mean, he's scary enough that he's pursuing Rey and all this and that, but at the same time, make it even worse. Like, make him something really scary.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Rey calls him a monster in that forest scene in the fight, but give us something that really makes you feel like he is, Yeah,
like more tentacles or something.
I want teeth coming out of the bottom of the helmet.
What if you took off the mask and it was just one big tentacle? Like,
something like that would have been cool, though, if when he took off the helmet, maybe he was so maybe to show his conflict or how entrenched he was into the dark side, to have maybe like something with his eyes or something,
or after he killed Han Solo or something.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, there are little nuances here, and we could chip away at it for hours. There are tons of things, but I don't mean to get so hung up on him, but I think as far as characters go, they kind of struck chords with me aesthetically.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of it, you put in an actor that I really enjoy and appreciate. And I was like, yeah.
Well, it helps it's the first time you've seen him, too. I think that always helps with stuff like this.
First time I've seen who is Kylo Ren?
Oh, Adam Driver, or in a big way.
I mean, and I think previous to this, well, I guess I saw Force Awakens with Haley back in the day. So, and at that time I was like, for all I knew, Kylo Ren had been around since Darth Vader.
Sure, yeah. If you're not a huge fan, you're like,
at that point I was like, yeah, I don't.
Welcome back. New. He's looking great.
Yeah.
Han's not looking good, but he's looking good. He's looking real good. Have you gotten shorter and leaner? You look like you lost some weight.
But yeah, so no, and I have been exposed to Adam Driver through different avenues, in other movies, but
did you watch Marriage Story?
I think the guy's got range. I want to now. I've heard a lot about it. I heard that it's Oscar worthy for him, and I hear there's some funniness to it, but also a lot of depressing parts. It's very real world, like the portrayal of divorce kind of a thing and whatnot. And that's where I think, you look at a guy like him and are you like, yeah, he looks like the type to be in like a kind of artsy, what's the word, artsy, kind of mental movie where you
Yeah.
gotta emotional, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Sure.
And
More of a drama.
that's where I say I think, yeah, he's very drama driven. In fact, a lot of stage stuff and whatnot, which really makes me think, man, okay, you take somebody like that. I mean, you put him in like Logan Lucky,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
kind of a weird role, but
Yeah.
he kind of brought that to life in a way that was very appropriate. And then you put him in something like a Marriage Story, more theatrical and emotional, and very, digging into the thralls of humanity and what certain things are like, and trying to portray that and make it interesting on the big screen. You
Or
take a guy like that and you're throwing him into, you're going to play the villain in one of the most popular fandoms on known to man.
yeah.
I mean, it's such a, I mean, you're jumping from here to there to there to there to
Yeah.
there. Not saying that these are lesser. It's just,
It's
it's such a
different.
broad spectrum, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that I find that impressive, and again, stuck on him, but not to take away from anything from the other actors. All great in their own right. I think Daisy Ridley's excellent and plays Ray very well. But and as I watched the final film, even, and kind of look back on it, I really start to appreciate her a little more. I think she's got a bright future. She's really good,
Sure.
really good. But and I started to appreciate her character Ray a lot more through that final film.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, just the way that I feel like Abrams has a bit of a, oh, I don't know if I want to say this, but who's the director? Zack Snyder for DC.
Yeah.
I feel like he's got a bit of an injection of that element in
Sure.
his style, but done better.
Sure, maybe more like story meets the vision, whereas Zack Snyder's
like,
more on like the vision of it, where it's like it's really iconic or
exactly.
very like striking.
Yeah,
The story
where
doesn't always
Abrams,
play
I think,
out.
knows how to bring the story through and
Sure.
bring it full circle and make it meaningful. Not that it was perfect, but I think he did a good job with what he had. And
it's hard. I wish you would have been able to write and direct that second one, to some degree, just to see what that would have been.
Yeah, and not that it feels totally disconnected, but you can definitely see how it's different. And it almost felt like The Last Jedi. First of all, the name is kind of striking in that you're like, well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And it almost felt like that. Felt like a run of stairs, and the first one was a big step. The middle one was a little trippy step that had a creek in it, and then the third one was another big step. And I don't mean that to say it was like a bad film. It felt like it was like a building film, or like a stepping stone to get to the bigger, juicier meat on the plate, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't know that I don't want to delve into too much detail on why or how, but I think most people can agree to some extent in one way or another that it was it felt less meaty, and it was more like developmental. It felt like,
sure, it's more character driven, and some people love that
exactly
for that reason.
Yeah. So. And granted, I appreciate it. I appreciated it quite a bit. I mean, I think it was very necessary, those interactions between Rey and Kylo.
Mm-hmm.
And that her learning more about herself. I think all that was very necessary to get to the point at the end. But a lot would argue it was a little anticlimactic in certain ways.
Sure.
Yeah. Slightly. I mean, I guess moving on per se, I think all this stemmed from what if I would have been pulled over in my truck, the Kylo Ren sticker on the back, something like that.
Yep. Yeah, that's about right.
These are the ways we segue into topics, my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Totally on a Star Wars kick lately. Like I said, my work computer, my wallpaper is like, it's dope.
Yeah,
I mean, it's cool. I'll have to show you.
You have shown me.
Yeah, I don't know. I got some new ones. Yeah, but that's the thing, though. There's so much out there for Star Wars, which I think makes it even more interesting. All the fandom type stuff. Some true, some not, and all that, and this and whatnot. But it still makes it all that much more interesting to me. But I guess, yeah, I don't know if there's anything else we want to talk about in that vein, Jimmy.
It's your call, man.
You're the general here. I'm just
no. It's your day. It's your day. We can talk
Jimmy,
about as
let's
much.
Face it, I'm not as organized and well thought out as you are. I need somebody calculated to help segue this.
I'm calculating. We're segueing straight into what I want to talk about, which is obviously Kylo Ren. Oh, dang it.
We've been down that path, pal.
See, he's on. I looked over here and there's a picture of him. See, it's funny because a lot of people think, yeah, and I used to hang over here. A lot of people probably see this and they're like, oh man, you say you're a Darth Vader fan. Where's all your Darth Vader stuff? I have a full corner over here that's got these big pictures of him.
Trust me, people.
I love it.
He's got a Darth Vader credit card even. I mean, yeah.
I do.
It's a good conversation starter too.
I'm so proud of it. And I joke about this, maybe even joked about it on the show. It is something that, okay, it does give me Disney dollars, right? So I could use, but besides that, the best thing about the card is the looks on people's faces when they see it, because a lot of people are Star Wars fans, and even if you aren't, the card looks cool enough that they're like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, and yeah, I've had a lot of people, I remember like the teenagers when we went to go see Star Wars, Joe, like the pretty young kids, they were into it. I've had like servers, I've had a ton of different people. They're like, sweet card, dude. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, I was like,
it was definite brownie points at Disney. I remember.
I know that I get it. As I joke, but it's going to happen one day. I'm going to work for Disney and it's going to be great. I'm going to be in Star Wars and it's all going to work out because it's like all these years of just peddling and being like, you guys should watch Star Wars. I got Joe to watch Star Wars. We even went down to Disney to go into like Galaxy's Edge and all that. So it's worked out well. And one day Disney and we're all just going to understand each other because I'm wearing a Space Mountain shirt right now, for gosh sakes. Disney, come on, the movies, the shows, the rides, I'm there for it, baby. Like we're gonna work together and it's gonna just be, it's wonderful. I just wish I could have taken a VIP tour of the studios, but Disney is very specific. You have to either purchase a bunch of DVDs and use like the points to go on a tour, or you have to get like invited. It's not like something you can just like pay to go and do. It's like people are working there. Like it's not like, oh, let's have thousands of people come through a day, like, you know, pointing and stuff. It's like, no, like they're working. Yeah, it's cool. It's so just Marvel and Star Wars in the same area to me is like my heart. It's like, and I love it so much.
I think you should start out as a cast member at Disney, and by cast member I mean you should be Kylo Ren or Vader and do that.
I'd have fun with that.
Batu for a little while.
Okay.
And when they see how dedicated and good you are at playing the role, clearly there's no choice but to, bounce you up a step, right?
A little inside baseball, as it was, Joe, or as it were. I love that idea. The only issue is, first off, it's like Anaheim, especially if you want to do like in California, is a little too far away from like all the Hollywoody stuff. And second off, the theme parks are kind of separate from like all the movie stuff. It doesn't seem like, but Steve Martin, who people know Steve Martin, he actually, like, his first job or one of his first jobs was working at the Magic Shop on Main Street in Disneyland years ago. So there's a lot of people, I think, in the and there's plenty of other people, I think, who started as cast members who like started there and they didn't get like upward momentum into like movies and TV through that, but like because they wanted to be out there and stuff, that's how they did it. I will say this though, Joe, we've joked about it. I would love to be one of those Imperial officers on like in Rise of the Resistance, you guys know. And I saw one of them in another.
You'd be good in that role, I think.
I saw one of the guys who was in, I think maybe one of our vlogs, but he was in another video. One of the cast members who was down there. I was like, oh, I remember that guy. He was really good. And I was like, these people, I would have too much fun in a job like that where they took it seriously. But I did notice, and I think I talked to Katie about this, the cast members in Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland it didn't seem like they were as ingrained in the kind of idea of being in Galaxy's Edge as they were in Disney World. Like at Disney World, I felt like I could, and I did talk to a few of them who were like, yeah, I'm actually from Alderaan, and Alderaan's gone, like stuff like that. And like at this one, I like would greet people with like bright suns. I'm like, bright suns, and they're like, hi, what do you want? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. So maybe I just, not that they were bad. I did buy, let me see if I can grab it here for you. Joe, I finally got one. Did I show you this? My little thermal
Yeah,
detonator
thermal
Coke.
detonator.
I had a diet one, and I finally got this one, and I chugged it right before I went on Smuggler's Run, and I made some friends, which was really fun. I didn't mean to go on Smuggler's Run, but I was like, I had time, so I was like, I'll just do it. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting a tangent. But all I'm saying is Disney, this is in the future if the channel shuts down. That's probably because I got a job with them. And they're like, hey, we watched your podcasts and we like that you're pro Disney, but you're not full pro Disney. Like, we want you to be like only talking about Disney.
You're giving away too many insider secrets on how we do this whole show.
I would never, like, I know that some people, I actually found a vlogger who works on Ellen's show, and he's like one of their like the people like showrunners, or he's like one of the guys who's working like the technical stuff. And I was like, oh look, he gets away with like, you know, kind of doing, you know, travel vlog
really?
stuff. Yeah, it was really, I was like, oh really? And he was like showing clips of the show, like really brief ones of like him on the show, like his first days and stuff. And I was like, whoa, it's pretty funny. But yes, yeah, I want to work for Disney. I want to make Star Wars, man. Like, and that's the thing. I don't want to make one of the episode Star Wars. No. I want to make one of those off shots. I want to make one of those things that you're just like, we'll see how it is. And you're like, wow, like it blows your mind. Like, I want that final act of Rogue One. And I want to make a whole movie like that where it's just like, oh, this movie's freaking nuts. Like, and you'd be like, yeah, baby.
Well, you know, that really drives the question is, it almost kind of made me a little sad seeing that last movie, Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, man, where are they going to go from here? They had such a good group of characters and such a cool story here. What's going to happen next? I mean, Star Wars can't just like, that's it, folks. You know,
yeah,
the Mandalorian and all that. But I mean, what else? Where are they going to go with it? What's going to come back to theaters?
Yeah, it's going to be a while. I know they said they're taking like maybe like 5 or 10 year break in between like trilogies in the saga, which I think is smart because well, you want it to be an event,
more profound, and
because if it came out every year, like, or every 2 years forever, you'd be like, hey, you know, I guess episode 15's in theaters, so like I guess we should go see it. Yeah, and people be like, But the funny thing is, to me, like Marvel, I think people pick and choose the Marvel stuff and they all go see Avengers. But like you can go for a while and not watch like the Marvel stuff and then just pop into Avengers, and you might not know every little detail, but you'll still be like, oh yeah, I can play catch up. Like you might not watch Doctor Strange by itself, but when you watch, you know, Infinity War, you get the gist a little bit of who that guy is, and you're like, okay, he's a magic man and he has one of the Infinity Stones. Okay, perfect. Like, that's, like, almost all you really need, you know? You're just like, yeah. But with, like, and that's 22 movies now or whatever. Like, think about that. And Star Wars is 11 or 13, 11 or so, 11 or 12. But just nuts to me. Like, it's just different. That's when you make them boom, 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 boom. But not every other year we're getting Avengers, right? Because Avengers wouldn't be as cool if you're like, oh, Avengers 7 is out.
Yeah, that's more of the culmination and kind of the big firework finale, right? So
yeah, I love the crossovers movies. It's like or crossover shows like Bachelor in Paradise. It's like the Avengers of reality TV. I just love it. You just bring all those characters together, baby, put them on a beach, which ironically my sister was down in Mexico a while ago and she was near there, and I was like, one of my other dreams besides Disney's the dream, like working, acting and producing for Disney movies, that's the dream. One of the lower dreams is to rent out the place they shoot Bachelor in Paradise just for like a couple of days and chill and hang out there, but also vlog it up and pretend like we're on the show. I think it would be very fun. I'd be like, it's me, Chris Harrison, everybody. Like, I'm on the beach and you never know what's going to happen
Tonight
here.
Will be the most dramatic rose ceremony you've seen in all of Bachelor history.
I just want him to be like, this is going to be the most dramatic introduction that I've ever done for this show. Truly, it is. Like, you're like, yes.
You said that last year, Chris. Yes. How can you top it?
You're like, we love you, Chris.
Yeah, well, not the what's the word, regress, right? But back to the COVID thing.
Oh yeah.
Is it kind of unfathomable that Disney has been shut down for the longest period of time it's ever been shut down?
Yeah.
Ever?
Yeah. So starting back in 1955, the longest they'd ever been shut down, especially like Disneyland. I've been hearing stories about this. For instance, just for you guys to know, so September 11th, they shut down that day, and here's how it worked. Disneyland heard about it and they shut down before the park opened. Walt Disney World was actually open, and I believe in a half an hour, and this was they had all their parks. They were able to get everybody out of the parks in a half an hour. I think that's right. I could be wrong on that, but either way, so they shut down. But they just shut down that day, and then the next day they were open. They Disney World has shut down a few times for hurricanes. Might be a day or 2 or 3. Like I don't. It's not been this extended period of time. But yeah,
So long, yeah.
it's and all of them simultaneously shut down. That has never ever happened in the history of all that, and all the other theme parks too. I mean, like, you know, if Disney's gonna say that, Universal's gonna be like, all right, if you guys are closed down, like we're closed, like we're all closed down. Like it's like we're all doing it together, okay? Like we all decided this together.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. I know we were talking about beforehand, but it like makes me appreciate even more that we were able to get there and do that stuff, and you know, have that time and not like be looking forward to it and not have it now. Be like,
yeah, and we had talked about it beforehand, and you were saying that they had slated to pay their cast members through like the 18th of April, despite being shut down and everything. That's pretty awesome. That's good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's starting to look like it might be a little longer than that even. So I wonder what the next move will be, or if we'll be able to do something. But or like the workers from out of country, like the exchange students, or however they're, I don't know who they truly are. Are they exchange students, like they're here for schooling as well? Or?
Yeah, I believe a lot of is college program, which in the States they sent the kids home, but then for the students who are outside, yeah, it is kind of like I don't know if it's a full exchange program, but they get to come here. It's for college credit and also live and work here, which is really, really cool. As we've talked about, I'm sure Ayumi from Takumite was one of those people who was our server at this new Japanese restaurant over at Epcot. Yeah, a really crazy time. The one thing that I think that's kind of a boon for them, and they probably slowed down on this too, they were remodeling some portions of the castle, changing out the spires to kind of update them for the 50th anniversary. So some of their construction projects might have not moved up, but for a little bit of time, they probably got more like, oh, hey, the park shut down today. We can just like, we don't have to we can go big. Yeah.
Monty, right?
Just go super loud, like whatever. Yeah. So the joke, I think, for us Disney fans for a bit was like, all right, well, if they're shut down for a while, maybe they'll just like get all these things done, like the Tron coasters, like ready to go, like, you know, in May. They'll just be like, yeah, it's open. Just be like, whoa. But now it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case, because I'm sure they're kind of pulling back on all that stuff because they're not necessarily essential. I don't know, Joe, you know more about construction, so I don't know if that would be considered that or not.
I mean, they kind of, I don't know what Florida's, what's the word?
Mandate
was similar to ours or Ohio's. I think they've all been fairly similar. Most of them have deemed construction services essential, which it's funny. I've seen so many memes on, like, you know, construction workers with their hard hat and they've got like a bright shining light behind them and they're looking all macho, like when you find out that you're essential.
Yeah.
Like, and by no means am I bragging. I was actually kind of surprised. Well, I wasn't, because I expected it because of what I had heard, but to a certain degree, I'm kind of like, are we really, you know, we're putting a bunch of people in a building working on stuff, sometimes working together on things like hanging drywall. You're always closer than 6 feet from a person. You're all going through the same door to get into the building. You know, we've had to implement things like, you know, hourly sanitation of, you know, entry points, things of that nature. We've got extra portal johns on site. We've got wash stations now. You can't break together in a trailer. You have to break in your own vehicle. You know, we're doing a lot of things, but at the same time, it's like, I think the only way that we get away with really being essential is that, okay, we have a client that has dedicated millions of dollars to this new building, which is going to support the growth of their business, and they need to get it open as soon as possible for production. They can stay afloat, that sort of thing. It's all based off of a plan for their finances and their business plan as a whole, right? So I think there was a little bit, you know, where that was more of the mindset than anything. That's why we were deemed essential. I think also their thought was like, you know, construction services, as in like, you know, say something catastrophic happens to your home and you need emergency service right away.
Yeah.
if we're all stuck at home, we're not going to come help. So, I guess I kind of get it. I think it's a lot of that stuff is so gray,
Yeah.
but, Disney World, it's not like they're going to be treated differently. If they have projects going, they can get it going. Like schools right now, freaking breathing down my neck, like, let's get working now. We got a whole month and a half to get a bunch done before the kids come back, which likelihood is they may not come
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
right? So it's going to roll right into summer, which makes things crazy. But so yeah, there's definite sectors that are taking advantage of it in the current situation. Not that it's good in any way whatsoever, but it is being taken advantage of in certain realms. So I'm sure Disney would do the same thing. So like you said, the example of the castle. I mean, yeah, there's no why be discreet if no one's around.
Yeah.
Hammer it out, boys. Let's get her done. We got another one we can do before this place opens back up. Come on.
Yeah.
So yeah, and through it all, like I said, you have to enact certain things for the companies doing the work to make it safe for the workers. So yeah, that is interesting, though. Can you imagine, cast member? I was joking with you earlier. You're the guy that plays Kylo Ren, and for a whole month, you don't get to put the mask on. You're
Yeah.
just like, oh,
And somehow he's still getting
depression,
paid
man.
for it. He's still getting paid. Dang. It's like he's living my dream right now.
I mean, I know I would be depressed. I'd be
Yeah.
like, God dang it. I'd have to take the helmet home with me and
I'd
just
take it home. I understand that. I
show
get
me,
that.
show me again.
Yeah.
Power of the dark side. Anywho,
I'd make a good Kylo Ren because I'm such a Darth Vader fanboy. So like it would work out well. Like I'd carry that weird Darth Vader helmet around with me, and I'd be like, Grandpa.
That would be cool. Why don't they do that?
Well, because he probably wouldn't. He wouldn't want to bring it around, and someone would try to steal that. Someone would try to grab it and run. People are weird.
Kylo Ren, you freaking take them down.
I know. Well, you can't touch them. It's a lawsuit. Anyway, but
stormtroopers on.
One thing I did want to bring up too, because we were talking about this, and by the time this goes out, or maybe right now, they might not be doing any construction or doing anything at all because they're taking safety is their number one priority at Disney. I totally understand that. But the pictures, people have gotten aerial views of the parks in the middle of the day with nobody in them, and it is so cool, but also equally eerie because like you look at these places that are usually crawling with people. Like I've never seen the place like from that view without anybody in it in the middle of the day. Like it looks like a weird like rapture. Like everyone's just like it's like, and everything's still fine, but it's like, well,
yeah,
what?
Well, depends on your definition of fine, I suppose.
Yeah, well, in the park, like it's not like it's on fire or like it's like it's been overtaken by nature or something. It's like it's all well kept still, and you're like, Like it's really strange,
but a ghost town nonetheless.
Yeah, and as we said beforehand, it sounds like with Disneyland and Walt Disney World, it will take about 5 to 7 days to start it back up because some of these rides, all these rides, really haven't stopped for this amount of time before. So what people are kind of waiting on, besides maybe the middle of April potentially, is when the kind of the quality assurance folks come back in and you start to see them testing things again. Then that might be kind of a little bit of like okay, they're kind of gearing to reopen. And I would not be surprised if like all the places will kind of capitalize on this, and I'm sure that they will have record-breaking attendance at all of these places when they open back up. Eventually, I don't know, maybe that first wave of people will kind of be more timid, like they'll kind of be like, but for most of the diehards,
everything been sanitized?
Yeah, exactly. Like they're getting on Small World and they're just dumping buckets of hand sanitizer on there. Just like we replaced all the water with Purell, and they're like, oh, isn't that great? Like Splash Mountain's a different experience. Just Purell in the fit.
You're just like, yeah.
Like, oh, feels good. The showers have been replaced. There's no more water, just Purell everywhere. Just,
that smell. By the end of the day, I'd want to vomit.
Yeah, it's a lot. I prefer bromine.
Yeah. So, bringing this to a different industry, think of the film industry right now, or just the media industry. I mean, for example, I was thinking about this. I was a big fan of the Witcher when it came out with Henry Cavill, and I was thinking, well, they started shooting after New Year's, right, for the second season. Well, not now. They're not.
Yeah.
So whenever we thought that was going to come out, well, it's going to be a while longer. And think about, and that goes for any shows of that sort that were in the early stages of shooting for a season or what have you. Now think about Bloodshot. Remember we talked about that? It popped up on the radar a little bit, and it was going to be coming out, and it came out right when this whole thing kind of hit the shan. Excuse
Nice.
me. And coincidentally now, and I saw a couple others are obviously doing it. It's really their only option, but they're now coming straight to digital release. And
Dude, do you want to watch Bloodshot together?
Dude, I totally would.
We should stream it.
Let's link up this weekend.
Yeah, that sounds great. I've heard people were talking about that, like coming straight to streaming now, because it was like either that or it's just gonna sit in a movie theater not moving, for months, and then it'd be like the only thing you could watch is Bloodshot. So yeah, I think that's a smart move. The weird thing, and I want to ask you about this, Joe, is
But are they a total loss now?
Okay, that's the thing. So I was listening to this, and I probably am going to butcher these numbers, but on the Weekly Planet, it's a great show. Everybody should watch it. It's two guys from Australia, and they talk about movies and comics and TV shows and all that. It's really great. I love it. I've been listening to it for years. But they were talking about what some of these movies would have to do in order to do well enough to make their money back and the marketing and all that stuff. And it was some sort of crazy number that they compared it to the one of the biggest streamed pay-per-view events ever, which was Manny Pacquiao versus somebody else. It was some huge boxing or some MMA fight or whatever thing. And see, clearly I don't know, but apparently even that wouldn't have been it would take 10 times or something like that number of people and payments to justify streaming some of these things. So the questions come out as Wonder Woman 84, Mulan, Black Widow, some of these movies where it's all right, we can't bring them in the theater because people can't go see them, but they might not bring them to streaming. So the question is, do you make a hybrid where it's all right, for $20, you can stream Mulan on Disney Plus. But for a family of 5, instead of $100 or $50 or whatever it would be at a movie theater, it's just $20. But for someone like me, it's going to cost a little bit more. Would you, Joe, be interested in seeing some of those bigger movies from the comfort of your own home?
To a certain degree, but I'll be honest, for a movie like Wonder Woman 1984, I'd love to see that on the big screen.
Yeah. I
mean, we've always talked about there's something about the experience of the big screen that makes it more profound, right? You enjoy that. You enjoy the fact that you're there with other people and it's kind of a night out, and you can enjoy that. You enjoy that experience as a whole rather than here, let's be lazy, chill on the couch, eat popcorn, and watch a movie, right? Which is nice in its own right. But for a movie like Bloodshot, sure, yeah, that's it's 10 o'clock at night. I'm not ready for bed. Let's watch her up, No offense to that. Maybe it's a freaking outstanding movie and we just don't know yet. But
I heard
no one's seen it.
I was gonna say, actually, I know the guys Weekly Planet, they actually did see it because they saw it in theaters. They said it wasn't bad.
Yeah. It looks kind of cool. I mean, it really does. Some cool effects and whatnot to be talked about in the future podcast.
Sure, hopefully, yeah. Vinny D.
But in my mind, I started thinking about that stuff the second I heard, okay, public places, gatherings are shut down. Some movie theaters and restaurants were all being affected immediately. I was like, wow. So, and I wonder theaters too. I mean, they got to keep the lights on, right? And how do they do that? They put butts in seats. Well, there aren't butts in seats for over a month. I mean, these most of the big corporations, AMC, Marcus, all them, I'm sure they're able to keep the lights on and float the bills for a month. But some of your more local theaters and such, I mean, hopefully everything's paid off, so to speak. I don't know. What does a month of no revenue do to them? So I don't know. Some catastrophic domino effects here regarding this whole COVID thing. It's just interesting to talk about it in a different vein other than how many people have been affected, how many people are dying. I mean, that deserves its own place in the spotlight. But we don't want to be all doom and gloom here. So, but yeah, that it is amazing. I mean, are those movies just a total loss? They invest, 250 million out of the gate on a movie, and they can't even release it in theaters. Is having it out on digital Blu-ray going to be enough?
I think
Probably not.
depending on how long this goes for, maybe they start saying, all right, instead of doing like more of the original shows and stuff, we cut a few of those and, focus more on the TV shows like the Marvel ones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, like Black Widow, Wonder Woman. I mean, those are slated to come out when Wonder Woman's in June.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Black Widow is that May.
Yes, it was anyway, but I think that got all pushed back.
Yeah,
Maybe.
so they're gonna adjust schedule for those. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind
I
of
don't know.
think of like if this would have happened, and like you can kind of play this game all the time, but if this would have happened last year with like Avengers
God.
Infinity or not Infinity War, but for Endgame, like
Endgame.
that would have been
Catastrophic.
Well, that movie cost so much, and obviously they needed to make that money back, but it like just to think like you were in this position to build this thing up for years and years and years, and you're like, here we go, here's the final curtain is coming down on this, and it was like, nope, and it's just like it's just sitting somewhere digitally like in the Disney archives, and they're like, what do we, this is billions of dollars right here, and it's just like you just like can't do anything with it. It's like so yeah, I think these movies will probably, I don't know if they'll take a loss, but they'll probably just wait until the movie theaters are back open. They'll just hold on to them because, we're so used to this steady trickle of media, and they kind of control that because they have their timelines and budgets and stuff. But if there's not going to be anybody out there, if there's no demand for it in a theater, and they're not willing to like take the hit of putting it on streaming, unless they put it on streaming and they just say like, hey guys, guess what? It's going to cost this much, and it won't be like part of Disney Plus. Even then, they'd still lose money because, like I said, you just kind of pay-per-view it, where it's like everybody in your house or whatever in your apartment would just be like, all right, well, we'll just rent it for one of us. It's not like they could track how many eyeballs are watching it. Not yet. I wouldn't be surprised if one day we had that. Like, it's like, oh no, you got 2 people watching. Sorry, I won't play. It's just like, get out. Get out of here.
Like blocking the webcam on your laptop.
Yeah. I don't know. So I think they'll just wait, man. I think they'll just wait it out, which kind of sucks because you're right. It is like,
yeah,
it's money they're in the hole for that movie right now, and it's like it should make it back, but
yeah, it's super weird. I mean, it's totally the world out of routine, right? This is what it's like when the world's out of routine, and normally, things are on a schedule and things come out when they're intended to, and they fit where they're supposed to. Kind of in the realm of movie releases, so to speak. But it's real interesting. Sporting events is another one that's just insane. Like for close to home for me, Supercross. They made it in 10 or 11 rounds, and they go a total of 17. There's a championship still to be decided. The points are close. Who's to know who would have won? Apparently, they're rescheduling like 6 or 5 of the rounds, but they're thinking it'll impact the outdoor national series that transitions into in the summer, and they've already canceled one of those races, and they've already moved the schedule on those races, kind of a thing. It's mind-boggling. Yeah. They had the track like in Indianapolis, that weekend's race a few weeks ago. They had that track built already, and it was just a ghost town. Yeah. And they canceled it. And it's crazy. Some of the riders had already flown there, and they were there ready to go ride press day. Oh. I just find that unbelievable. And of course, obviously, most people familiar NBA and such and all that being canceled. It's in March Madness, which was a big deal. I know one of my friends, he actually took off work for March Madness because him and a bunch of buddies get together and they binge watch all the games and stuff, and have like a big hoorah, and that was all canceled. Yeah. And of course you can't have a gathering and a party and all that, so that was all like, damn, so it's crazy, but it's even more crazy when you look at how it affects things that are so massive, but also so part of our normal day to day, and things that we expect to like always be there, like movies, like a movie theater, going out for entertainment, or your vacation, the Disney World. Yeah. It's just unreal. Yeah. So I don't know, kind of fun and interesting to talk about. And that whole movie thing really popped in my mind. I was like, wow, did they just invest millions of dollars just to lose them?
Yeah, it's weird.
So
I know a few people out in Los Angeles in that area because I was just out there, and they're kind of talking about how everything is on lockdown and how
yeah,
weird it was. And as I've told people, like I was out there, and it was like I kept hearing these things, and it would be like, Los Angeles mayor is declare a state of emergency, and I'm like, like keep doing your thing,
yeah,
like like you just
Boot it
gotta
out.
just keep going, just like I'm thankful I was able to get out, but it is weird to think about those like and touring like Paramount, like I did, and just imagining that place just being kind of devoid of
Abandoned.
projects and stuff and people, and like seeing even people who were shooting like or like on break, like actors and just actresses just sitting out on their phones and stuff. Now it's like, nope, just go. And like a lot of those people, especially the younger ones, get schooling through all that stuff, so they'll do like schooling in like various trailers and stuff. So it's like, I guess again they're just sent home. Like you just kind of like go to where you live, like wherever you like, if it's here, if it's not, wherever else it is. It's like it's just crazy. It's really weird. But and there's not been
Yeah.
anything like this in our lifetime, obviously, but that has affected the entire world. And I try to look at it in a positive way because that's the type of guy I am. So thankfully, we finally have a common enemy. It's something that unites us and we can all understand together for the first time, I feel like, in a long time. Like, we don't have people coming out, like, saying, like, this is good for us, or, like, there's not, like, people are taking, like, a hard stance. They're like, no, it's good. Like, no, everybody's understands that this is a problem. And it's just so weird, the human mentality of, especially here where we're so lucky and biased to, get all the things we do, but, like, people just losing their minds and buying just all the stuff in a grocery store, or just like looking at everybody like they're a problem, like walking on a sidewalk and like seeing a person 4 blocks ahead of you and being like, all right, there's a threat, or like it's kind of that. It's like we're back, like kind of reverting to that animalistic tendency to be like, I'm gathering, and I can weather the storm, and I will weather it, like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
Yeah,
weird.
it is crazy. Glass half full. One of the things I saw, and I know they've traced, Wuhan, China, and everything. And apparently, Italy got hit really hard because they had some sort of business. They have business dealings or a trade agreement with, steel sources in Wuhan, China. I guess so that's kind of why Italy became a hard hit epicenter. But we're not a news organization and whatever. We're just here to converse on the subject.
Yeah.
And I've seen so much on what caused this thing, and I don't know that there's any one true article out there. But so from what I've heard, that it originated with the Chinese wet market in Wuhan, right? And I've seen multiple articles that it came from a pangolin, which, are you familiar with the whole saying, like, stay away from armadillos, like here in the States, like in Texas and in the
Oh,
Southwest
I'm not.
area? Apparently armadillos are like a lot of rodents and such, but armadillos are really well known for carrying bad diseases and viruses that are transmittable to humans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently that's a known thing. And so apparently I've heard that the pangolin, which is like an African armadillo, and for us Pokemon people, or back when we were kids growing up with the cards and all in the cartoon, Sandslash or Sandshrew.
Yeah.
I don't know if this will show up.
There it is. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So glass half full. This title right here: China permanently bans consumption of wild animals. I don't know whether that's a true article or not. I just caught it on social media, and you can't really blame everything you read. But
what site?
If that is true, that I don't even know. It was a snapshot, but if they truly did ban that, which is a $74 billion industry there,
that's crazy.
That's great.
That's like,
I mean, that's a glass half full. That's a good move. Thank God.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't be eating just whatever. But
well, from what I've heard, they similar like the rhino horn and the tiger bone, all that BS. They grind up the scutes or the scales from this thing.
For
I've heard that's where it stemmed from. Also, people contemplated it was somebody had bat soup or something. It's like, okay, I mean, I'm sure there's all sorts of crazy stuff floating around there, and nothing against the Chinese. It's their culture and all, but the fact that something that's somewhat abnormal like that and not very humanly of us is caretakers of the planet and all.
Yeah,
I feel like for that to affect the entire world in such a horrible way as it has, I hope something like that. Luckily, it resulted in something like this.
Yeah, hopefully something good comes of it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But was it worth the cost?
Good question.
No. But anyway, on the bigger, brighter things, Jimmy. Enough COVID crap. Everybody's heard it all. What else we got for tonight's show?
I don't know. It's your show, man. I'm here. I'm the guest.
Tell me to come prepared with a script.
National Joe Day, and I knew that even if I told you to prepare, it'd be way more fun to do it this way. Because if we have anybody listening still at this point, I'll be impressed if it's besides Ryan. If anyone else is listening to this point and you are not Ryan, please let us know, because that would because I know Ryan will listen to this.
We love that you listen.
I love it. He's tuned in to, I think, almost every stream I've done so far, even on the weekend, which was crazy. That's a lot. That's pretty good. He's trying to win those Legionnaire points with me, and I appreciate it. We've had a few new people showing up lately too. There's some great new people on the streams and stuff too. They're like really nice, like really fun. We were playing Breath of the Wild today, and we're playing with the physics of it, and I was trying to freeze a rock, like a boulder, in place, and with this magic you can use, and then you can hit it a bunch of times, and then it's like a timer, and it builds up that momentum, so it stores that potential energy, and then you can try to hold on to it, and then it should take off. And I wasn't able to do it with a rock, but I was able to do it with a tree. I knocked down a tree, and then I could ride it into the sky. It was really cool. I had it at an angle, and it would shoot off, and I was standing on it for a little while. It was It was pretty cool. So that's what I was doing today.
Why don't we get to that, huh? Why don't we get to a little segment that I always like to call, but Jimmy, I'm sure you'd love to call
Time Killers. I haven't done Time Killers in so long. It's so good.
I want to see in the comments, better than mine, or what do you think?
I like not.
Well done. Well said.
I used to not tell guests, or no, I used to tell guests that I was going to do that, and then it was more fun if I didn't, because they were like, "Whoa!"
Just surprise them, like, "Oh my god, he's possessed."
It was like the guy from GTFO, Simon Vickland, when I did it, and he's like, "I don't have much time to kill," and I'm like, "All right, I know you're making a video game." It's like,
yeah, I remember that.
I was like, "I'm sorry. You're right. You have less time to kill." Yeah.
I guess I'll start her off being Joe Day and all.
It is National Joe Day. Happy National Joe Day. You're my favorite Joe.
Why, thank you, sir. My favorite Jimmy, although it's not your day, but one of these days we'll find one.
I'll kill all the others. There could be only one.
So my list of time killers, not too crazy by any means. I did rewatch Rise of Skywalker. I bought it immediately on digital.
You should have waited, because I'm sure Disney's they put Frozen out on Disney Plus early.
Yeah, how quickly you think that would show up on Disney Plus? I don't know.
A couple of weeks.
I don't care. I'm happy to support.
Yeah,
I bought the damn movie.
I'm supporting Mr. Driver.
Yeah, I may one day not have the Disney subscription, and I might want to watch Star Wars.
Question: if I ever meet Adam Driver, what do you want me to say to him for you?
Holy crap, let me think on that one. I honestly, I maybe call it a bit of a man crush. I think the guy's pretty dope.
Okay, that's fine.
There was an interview with Ben Affleck, in fact, recently, I think even in March. Time killers, let's kill some time.
Yes, that's like, I just wanted you like a one word sentence,
I'll think
awesome.
on what I want you to tell Adam Driver for. You call me immediately. I'll be there with bells on. There was an interview with Ben Affleck on Jimmy Kimmel. It's all over YouTube, but apparently So Ben Affleck was shooting something, and apparently Adam Driver's in it. I don't know what movie this even was because it was like a clip of Jimmy Kimmel. And anywho, Ben, trying to be straight and narrow dad and all, and see his kids, and he said, "Okay, I'll do whatever you want for the schedule, but make sure the 27th I'm on a flight back to California to see my kid for his birthday." It was his son's 8th birthday or something, and they were having a party for him and all this, and so the day comes, they get him out on a flight, and he's ordered gifts, and they're going to arrive there, and his assistant's going to be waiting to pick him up with them and all that, and take him to the party. And he gets off the plane, walks up, and hi to the assistant, and where are the gifts that were supposed to be taken over there? They didn't arrive. Well, Adam Driver had heard about his son's birthday and called his assistant, got information, and had sent over a picture of himself as Kylo Ren, like the full Kylo Ren, signed by Kylo Ren, and a Kylo Ren action figure and some other memorabilia, with like a little handwritten note type of a thing from Kylo Ren, and had sent all that to his assistant like immediately without Ben even knowing, and happened to save his birthday with his son because he didn't have anything to surprise him with. And so he shows up there and he's like, "Yeah, so Ben talking to his son, yeah, I'm sorry, buddy, your gifts didn't arrive. But you know how dad works on movies and those people? Well, I told you I know Kylo Ren." And he goes on to like describe, like, "Now listen, my son says what I do is just hocus pocus, fake, right? Like he knows, and he calls it the fake stuff. It's no big deal. He doesn't think it's a big deal. But when it comes to Star Wars, this kid is like, whoa, like, hold on. How do they, like he thinks that's legit, like it's real."
Yeah.
And so he says, "But my friend, I got a gift for you from my friend, Kylo Ren." and he said it was like the kid's world just blew up. His eyes were wider than wide. It's like, "What? You worked with Kylo Ren? How? What is he doing here?" Stuff like that. And so he gives him the gift, and the kid just like, it made his day and made Ben look like a hero to his kid, because Adam Driver just went out of his way to make a little special effort for his kid's birthday. Bro, that's pretty cool. I think he's a very class act kind of a guy. He's reserved. He's not a social media type. Lives in an apartment in Brooklyn and does his own thing. Cool guy. Hence why I was kind of crushing over him, talking about his character and his role and all that. And,
sure.
And just in the interviews I see, so cool. So yeah, if you ever run into him, you just call me right away and put me on the phone, huh?
Roger that. I'll do it.
I'll
have to remember that.
Time killers.
Yeah.
Let's stop killing some time. Talk about what we've killed time with off air. Huh?
Sure.
For me, been a lot of Warzone. Obviously, Jimmy, you've been gracious enough to give me a little time to the side to dedicate to the old Call of Duty.
Just try to be understanding.
My name's Big Diesel. I like playing Call of Duty. And that's what I say when I kill people. So on the death comms, they hear me say that. My name is Big Diesel. I like playing Call of Duty. Welcome to the party. But having a blast with it. It is very well done. There are some little things to fix, but for how big the game is, the amount of players in a game, it's up to 130 or 150 person lobbies. Or it'd be 150. 30 teams of, am I thinking that right? 50 teams of 3.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That does.
So, the math checks out. I'm just trying to make sure. Yeah, that's probably right. The map, monstrous. If you play it on PC, apparently the graphics quality at like 260 frames a second or whatever.
Wait, 260 frames a second?
I think that's what it is. They can't get it at that. I think it maxes out at like 180 or something like that. I don't know what it was.
Anyway,
But
crazy.
anywho, you see streamers running it on their PC with controller and it looks freaking crisp. I'm like, damn, how do I get mine to look like that? But the environment is really awesome. They've done a really good job with it. The way things function and the nuances within the game. It's technical. Time to kill is a little shorter, so the skill gap isn't as broad. You know, like in Blackout, the previous Call of Duty from Treyarch, you know, the skill gap was larger. So if
Mhm.
you could control your recoil and move like nobody's business, you were the winner. You know, this one, it's not as dependent on the lobby you get. Yeah, you'll run into good players here and there, but the skill gap and the time to kill isn't as broad, so you can still win out as a somewhat more novice player against better squads. And a lot of it, it's really crazy the amount of thought you have to put into things and really actually be kind of tactical, because your positioning is like almost everything,
Mm.
using cover and stuff like that. And there are a lot of broad areas to cover and traverse, but the map is just monstrous. I mean, I don't think you can memorize the gist of it, but like Blackout, I knew where every rock and tree was, right?
Yeah.
Here it's like, I mean, part of it's a mountain range forest, the other part's a downtown city center, the other part of it's a freaking shipping dock for barges, and other parts a freaking uh, shopping supermarket. I mean, the storage town with storage you know, garages or whatever you call
Yeah.
them, storage units. I mean, it just goes on and on. There's a dam, of course, and it is really cool farmland. So it's a lot of the ground war maps all melded together, plus then some more. And man, it's just a blast. And then you enter in the customization, because obviously the goal is you get enough cash, which you loot off the ground and in boxes. You also get guns and whatnot that are generic to start, but you get this cash and you go to these buy stations that are spread out through the place, through the map, and you can buy like your own custom loadout crate for your team for quite a bit of money. So you need to collect cash quick. You drop that crate in, and then you've got your list of your 10 custom classes, which one you want to run the day, you know? And with that customization and, you know, experimenting with what class really works well, and, you know, sniping or AR or SMG AR or shotgun, etc., so much fun. Every match can be different in its own right based on how you want to approach it, which is really cool. And then, not to mention, the stakes are high, but they give you the chance to come back into the game. You know, your first death, you get the chance to go to the gulag, they call it, which is like the prison fighting pit. So when people die, they match you up with another player from another team that had died, and it's a one-on-one match with a gun of their choosing, a specific one, stock one, and you got to kill each other in this pit. And if you win out, you get re-entered into the game at no cost. Or if you've already done your gulag, or you lose your gulag, if you still have teammates that have either won their gulag or that are, you know, alive in the game, they can go to a buy station, and if they have enough money, they can buy it back and you spawn back in. So you're never really totally out of it, which kind of makes it fun and interesting. So yeah, I think what they've done is pretty special. Free to play and all, which was the right way to go. This thing's got legs, and they'll continue to support it and develop it. It sounds like they don't plan to release another Call of Duty BR anytime soon. They want to kind of do with this one what like Apex or Fortnite has done, and just keep building and expanding upon it. So I'm really excited to see what the future holds for it. I think it's got a strong foundation, and you know, they delayed the release by 2.5 months or more. So they did that because they actually had people come in and test and review, and they said, "You're going to release this?" So they actually took the feedback they got from testers and went, "Okay, we gotta go back to the drawing board a bit here and fix some things." So they put the time in. They didn't rush the release, knowing that the game had already been successful just with the multiplayer and whatnot, that they could, you know, still stretch some time out of it and get it right. And that they did. I even heard people. There were Twitch streamers that were had a following and were main Call of Duty streamers, and they had signed non-disclosures, and they had gotten to go out to California and test it at Activision headquarters. And the day it came out, obviously they could talk about it, and they knew things of this and that, and they were talking about how it was good right out of the gate when they got the test, but they had heard from Activision, why it had been delayed and stuff. So it was interesting. I think for those reasons, it's somewhat polished. There are little features here and there that they could tune up, which they're starting to already. But at the end of the day, it's just a blast. I love the size of the map, the fact that the skill gap isn't huge, and just the variance in the way you play it. Every match is different. So not to say I don't enjoy hopping back in the multiplayer now and again. I still love Ground War, where you have those big 60v60s or whatever it is. That's fun, especially if you like the action where you want to shoot your gun a lot, right?
Sure,
so,
yeah.
So I have fun in both realms. I like to jump back and forth, and it's really a good time. It really is. So, and free to play. So, just saying, Jimmy, free to play.
Free to play, but like, is it? I don't know if it's free on my soul. I know. I've been burned too many times. It's like by MMOs, the battle royales, man. It's just the same thing. Does it have a bow? Do they have bow and arrow?
They have a crossbow.
All right. Well, call me when you get a bow and arrow. I know in a gun game, why would you want one? But that's real skill. Then can you execute people? They go on the ground, with a bow and arrow.
Yes, there's one. Right. There's one operator that has a German Shepherd canine.
I like it. It's a German Shepherd canine dog.
So there is every operator has multiple executions, or you can unlock more and whatnot. But his default one, I guess, is when you come up behind people and do an execution, he'll knock them, and then all of a sudden his dog comes in from out of frame and just rips them down.
Can the dog get killed?
No.
Okay.
No.
Cool.
The dog, it's just an automatic kill on that person that you executed. So the dog comes in, kills, and then out of frame again. But it's pretty dope.
I want to have a class that is based on me. And when the person goes down, I walk up to them and I outstretch a hand and I'm like, "Do you want to join me?" And then they can join our crew, and we could be a team of 4 then. And then and they leave their crew. No, sorry, dude, those guys shot me and they're pretty good. And I'd be like, that's what I would want. Anyway, is it my turn? Am I time killing now, or do you still?
Well, I did cover that. I had already gone back and watched Rise of Skywalker again, right?
Yep.
I've been watching the show. What's it called? Well, I finished up the latest Netflix season of The Flash, which is fairly good.
Mm-hmm.
With what's her name, their daughter or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen any of the new stuff that's been airing on TV, but finished that up. So basically, with quarantine, I've finished Netflix now.
Yeah, good job. Good, well done.
No, but. I've been watching the show called American Housewife with I don't even know who it is. All I know is it's actually kind of funny. It's not the best, but it's kind of if you're bored.
Okay.
But, just one of those typical sitcom type of deals. But
sure.
There's been some other things, but nothing worth mentioning. I'm gonna watch that Tiger Man.
Or yeah.
Batman or whatever, that thing that's going around the internet. I was watching the trailer for that with Drew one night, and we were just busting out laughing. It's hilarious. Just the trailer hooks you in.
Yeah, it's weird.
But, yeah, I'll probably end up watching that. So anyway, moving on to you, Jimmy.
Yep.
Totally your turn. I've taken up too much time.
It's National Joe Day.
Time killers is time non-existent. So.
No, it's cool. It's all good, man. It's all good. For
Take
me,
her away, champ.
Thank you. I was talking about Breath of the Wild. Played that a little bit today. Playing Final Fantasy VIII. I might do a full playthrough on stream of that eventually, just over time. But I've been playing through that, and obviously a little bit of an older game, very menu heavy. And I remember thinking that it was kind of complex as a kid, and as an adult, I feel like I've got a firmer grasp, but I still make mistakes. and I'm lucky to have chat there to be like, hey, you should do this instead, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, so, but it's been fun. It's been good. I do all the voices of all the characters, which is maybe good or bad depending if you're into that sort of thing. So Square, you're welcome. I'm happy to lend my voice to when you eventually remake it, which they probably won't for a long time. Anyway, moving on. So there's that. I've been playing Valkyria Chronicles, which is a game on PC, old strategy game. Looks great, really fun, really cool characters, and is one of those games that can be really fun and frustrating at the same time, and I think it's a fun streaming game. So those games primarily. I feel like I'm missing one. Oh yeah, I actually with Games with Gold right now. If by the time you guys are watching this, I think it'll still be up, but the second season of the Telltale Batman series is on there for free. So if you have gold, like Joe, if you've got gold, it's you could play. It's a very different Batman game. It's more story driven, and you get to make decisions and stuff, and you get to move around here and there. But it's more about kind of focusing in on the characters, and it's actually really interesting. I didn't know if I would like it, and I remember playing the first episode of season 1 a long time ago, and now playing season 2. It's really cool, and I'm interested to get like more into it because it's kind of, it's Batman, but it's different, like a different setting. Like instead, Thomas Wayne, his father, was actually like a super criminal, and that's how Batman kind of has his ties to the underworld, and that he's trying to kind of stop crime because of like his father and people like that, and different versions of like the Riddler and Penguin and stuff. It's like, oh, okay, this is cool. So I was jumping into that the other night, playing a little Divinity Original Sin 2 with my buddy Leo, which is such a wonderful game. Please, everybody, go get that game. It's so good. You could spend just hours trying to figure out how the combat, like, to be intelligent in combat, but it's so much. It's like Dungeons and Dragons come to life a little bit, and yeah, I love that game. And then I've been watching a lot of Simpsons. Like I said, I'm kind of jumping around.
Oh.
Once in a while, I get a Sideshow Bob kick. I love Sideshow Bob, and I can say without a doubt he is my favorite Simpsons character, especially for the kind of cameo characters, the guest characters. I love him, and I saw him in person in Universal, and I was like, Sideshow Bob, you're my favorite, and he was very excited to meet me. But yeah, I Simpsons, man, some of those old seasons, and a lot of people will say like Simpsons seasons like 2 or 3 through 10 or whatever, like the best ones, and I haven't really seen a ton past all that, but like, man, there's still some stuff in there that's so funny, like really funny stuff that is just, I catch myself just going like, oh my gosh, like this is really good, really well done. And I actually saw the episode recently where they predicted Fox would be a subsidiary of Disney eventually. So it was like I saw that episode and I was like, I was like, look at that, they predicted the future. Watched Frozen 2. I watched Prince of Egypt. I watched, I think that's it as far as movies go. Yeah. I think that's everything for now. Yeah. I've been doing a lot of stuff and working on videos and things like that. Wishlist videos. Star Wars videos. It's the Mandalorian one. If you go check that out. If you guys want. I want a Bounty Hunter video game so badly. Oh, gosh.
Oh, that would be good.
Yep.
Productive quarantine.
I'm trying to be, yeah. So check out that video there. Yep. All right, Joe, what's next?
Well, before we wrap things up, we always have to get a little community feedback and questions from the Legionnaires.
You're right. I'm trying to see. I'm
going
to see if we have anything because I put it out a little bit later.
It was slightly impromptu, so
it was slightly impromptu. That's okay because guess what? I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh, by all means, pal. I'm an open book.
How dare you? There you go. See, there's a question mark at the end.
Okay.
Answer it properly. No.
I'm sorry?
How long have you been a Joe? Has it always been Joe? Did you ever go by Joey or
No.
Joseph?
Everybody from my hometown and my family calls me Joey.
And why did you switch?
Why
are you
Do
Joe?
I look like a baby kangaroo to you?
It's well, I'll be Wallaby darned. I don't.
Plus, I think it's the more like if you're gonna name a Like if you're gonna name a girl Joe, a lot of times it blurs into Joey a lot. I
Is
don't
that
know. I've just never been I've always wanted I wanted it to be Joe. It just feels to me like the more adult version. Plus, I like the simplicity of it, and it's hard when you ever think about your own name. Like I'm like, my name's Joe.
yeah.
My name's Joe. Truly, it's Joseph, but
Yeah.
Joe. I don't know. It's hard. Like you say it to yourself, what your name is. It's something you never really think about. You just, I know what my name is,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a weird, like, I don't know.
That's just
I hope somebody
because
out there understands what I'm trying to say.
I'm out there right here, man. Yeah, we're just the problem is both of us our legal names are princes' names basically that start with J, and it sounds weird to hear them like that because it'll be like James Good, and I'm like, am I in trouble? Like, like
Yeah, yeah.
they're
Like,
like,
how easily could I have been a Nick and you a Chris?
yeah. Wait, what? No, no, no. I was
Or vice
never.
versa.
I
I don't
would
know.
never have been a Nick or Chris. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. I. I'm kidding. I actually know. I know good people of both those names. I believe.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. But how? Yeah, I don't know. So I've kind of shedded the Joey. In
Yeah.
college, I always introduced myself as Joe. I'm Joe.
Yep.
And yeah, granted, one person or another might call me Joey in the off turn, but never anything consistently. So yeah, I've always been a Joe. At work, I'm Joe. So um, yeah, I like my name.
Okay.
Named after my great grandfather
Oh.
on my mom's side. So he was Christian Joseph. I'm Joseph Christian. He went by Chris. So
Oh. See, a good
yeah,
Chris. I was named after
yeah.
my grandfather, so not great grandfather.
Okay, but still in the same vein.
Yeah.
See, if I would have been Christian Joseph, I never would have gone by Chris. I would have been Christian. To be honest,
Really?
yeah, is that weird? I think about that. You ever watch the show Nip Tuck?
No, but I know what you're talking
That
about.
character's name
Yeah.
was Christian. For some reason, I like the name Christian. Doesn't bother me. Like I know it's first of all, it sounds like you're talking about religion, but
Yeah.
but I also like the formality of it. I guess.
Okay.
For some reason, I kind of like the sound of it. It's kind of formal, but yeah, I don't know. No offense to anybody named Chris. Chris is just kind of sometimes it just seems bland to me. And there's so many Chris's. God, at work, I couldn't tell you how many people I email that are Chris that, Chris this.
Yeah.
Oh, which Chris am I talking to? What project? Okay, yeah, that Chris. Okay, yeah, but which Chris with that company? Okay, yes. I'm kidding. Boy, we just went on a rant.
No, it's fine. I think names are fun. My thought always is, how am I going to trick my eventual wife, if we ever have children, into naming our child after a video game character that I really like without her knowing about it? Like, how do I get my kid to be called Dante or Virgil without her knowing? Where I'm like, she'll never know. I love Darksiders, but we're not going to call the kid Death. Like, it'll be like, yes, Death good. Like, it's like, what?
Like, I'm thinking of calling my firstborn Kylo.
Dude, don't do it. Don't do it. He'll kill you. He or she. Either way, it's a new world. She'll meet you on some sort of causeway, and she'll be like, "Dad, come out here for a second."
Killed my father with no hesitation. Why? He named me Kylo.
He named me Kylo.
Oh my god, that could be a middle name though. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think we have used this joke on you before, Joe, but do you know why Kylo Ren is so angry all the time?
No, please enlighten me.
Because he's been Solo all his life. Yeah.
That's not too bad. That's not a wah-wah. That's a I'll give you a chuckle.
Do you want one more?
Okay.
You want one more?
Yeah, please.
Okay, where do Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, and Captain Hook all buy their day-to-day items?
At a prosthetic shop.
Close. The secondhand store.
Yeah.
Yeah!
They're good. They're
Yes.
good.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Last one. I heard this one the other day.
Hit me.
It's more of a pun, but I was eating some Wookiee steak the other night. It was pretty good, but I'd say it's a little chewy.
I've heard that one.
That's good. That's a cute one. Thank you. I'm sorry about that.
Hey, what do you call a pig that knows karate?
Pork chop?
Yeah, excellent.
Yes.
that was a little bit of a wah-wah.
I know. I'm happy. I'm glad I got it. Dang, I was thinking of karate chop, which is a high critical chance in the original Pokemon games. Man, you get that karate chop, man, you might be critting all day. Just freaking Machop, just going right on your Geodudes.
That was a big move. Jimmy,
yeah.
Any closing thoughts? I think that's a good end note to wrap up on. A little chuckle for the peeps.
Sure, yeah. Did you want me to do the outro stuff, or
Jimmy, it's a must.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it's National Joe Day, but this is the Critical Podcast. And if you ever have a question or a topic for us to discuss, all you have to do is tweet the hashtag Critical Podcast to either of us. You can tweet out our official account, which is at GoCritical, capital G and capital C over on Twitter, or you can tweet at me personally. I'm at JimmyGood013. Check it out. Send me a good meme. I love a funny meme. But if you want to tweet something specifically at Joe, where can they find you?
You can tweet at me at Lever_627. That's Lever just like Beaver, only with an L. And, likewise, I appreciate a good meme. I've been asking for them on the regular, a Star Wars meme. I quite enjoy those.
I think of you a lot just because I go back to that. And I don't think it's as good as the first skit, but just the SNL skit with Kylo where he just stabs that person. Okay, boomer. I heard someone in real life say okay, boomer, and I can't for the life of me remember who said it, but they said it legitimately, like our age, and I was like, whoa, people actually say that. Yeah,
you have to use that kind of in the right term, but yeah.
Anyway, actually, I think it was at the gym. Some guys were like, they're joking around. They're like in the sauna. They're like, oh my god. And they're like, oh, okay, boomer. And I was like, I want to be like, what?
Is that you, Adam?
No,
Mr.
Speaking of
another thing, he is excellent in SNL stuff. Like when he does SNL, I think he's very well cut out for that kind of thing. Like when he does the Kylo undercover boss thing, both of them were excellent. And then when he did the one as the crazy old oil tycoon, excellent. I mean, Pete Davidson couldn't keep a straight face to save his life. Anywho, back to the closing statements.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I've heard Daniel Craig is good too. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, if you want to support the show, consider checking us out over on, obviously here you can subscribe, but over on our Twitch, you can sub over there, or over on our Patreon. And thank you to all the Patreon members who are watching this, and they're getting this show. I don't really talk about this. You get it a day early if you're a $5 tier. So if you want to support us, that's a great way to do so, especially in times such as this. But thank you to Daleb for our music. Thank you to Joran Evers, who does pretty much all the art you see here on the channel. If you want to go support him, check him out at Naraj28 or at Jade Circle Art over on Twitter. I haven't talked to that guy for a while, so I hope you're doing well, Joran. I'm sure he's watching. And every time I say that, you know what that means? I know they're not. It's like when I make those jokes about Dwayne Johnson. I know he's not watching, but what if he were? Dwayne, I'd love to have you on the show. Anyway, but yeah, so if you want to support us, you can do that, or just come hang out with us and seriously send us questions. Send us an email at our email account. I don't talk about this enough, but we have an email, gocriticalreviews@gmail.com. Send us a comment, send us feedback, send us a story, send us a question, send us whatever. Tell us how you're doing. We want to know. Tweet at us. We want to communicate. Use social media in a non kind of coarse and angry way, which a lot of people do, because right now on social media it's angry tweets and Animal Crossing tweets, and there's no middle ground. I'm like, there should be something else there. Please, I beg you,
something somewhat less acidic.
Vitriolic.
More diluted. Yeah.
More delusional. No. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in today. And again, happy National Joe Day. And I think that means you get to sign us off, Joe.
Yeah, thank you for listening and joining us on this National Joe Day. Amidst the chaos out there in the world right now, obviously we talked about it a bit. Hope everyone stays healthy. Thinking of all you and your families, etc. Good vibes all around. And Jimmy, another good podcast, my friend. To all you Legionnaires, stay strong, adapt, and overcome. See you next time.
Dang, that was a good outro. Good job.
Bro, boom!
Nice.
Man
Nailed
up
it.
on the spot.